So thank you for tuning in on Wednesday to this call. I'm so fired up because you're watching this and I'm thinking that I have a message for you. Now, you're getting this message right now, and I am somewhere in the Greek Isles. I don't know if it's Santorini or Corfu or Olympia. I wish you was with us. You're not. Now, of course, we'll be listening to this audio over and over again, so I don't know when you're hearing it. But my mindset is right now I'm getting ready to go to Venice with about 180 of my best friends, the Alliance members that won this trip. And we're going to hang out in Venice for a couple days, and then we're going to several of the Greek islands. And this broadcast will be the best of. It'll be some videos of some people from our national convention. But before that plays, I had some stuff that's been really burning on my heart that I wanted to share with you and with the people that are in the audience, which is largely my staff, people that the part of the agency building task force that works all around the country with numerous agents. And the message that's really burning for me is like, guys, I want you to live like I live. It is not that complicated. I'm trying to simplify it down a lot lately. This is very simple stuff. Now, I know you can do it. I know I'm not the most brilliant person in the world. I know I'm not a genius, and I know all my flaws. I know a lot of them. There's probably flaws I don't even know I have that I have. But I know more problems that I have than you know that I have. You with me? As in, I like when people say I'm not perfect, and I always go like, duh, I knew you wasn't perfect. So I'm not going to say that because I know you know I'm not. But I'm telling you, it's worse than you think. It's not that I'm not perfect, it's worse than you think. I got problems. But what I don't have problems in, I think I would like for you to join me in those not problems. Like, for example, this will be the third or fourth time I've been to Venice. Let's just say it's only my third and not my fourth. I think this might be my fourth. How would you like to not have that problem? Like some people's problem is they've never been to Venice. And then this will be the third time I've laid eyes on Santorini, which is one of the most beautiful sites in the world. I've been on at least a couple of dozen cruises. I want you to have that situation. I want you to be able to travel the world. The other thing is that I don't want to blow people out and make anybody mad, but I don't worry about the price of gasoline. I don't worry about the price of bread. Now, don't get me wrong, I want the price to be lower, but hardly ever in my life do I think about it. I just don't think about it. I mean, I don't ride down the road, I don't look at the sign, but if somebody says gas is coming down, that's when I go, yay, because I'm glad that it's cheaper. But I don't think about it. I always go the extra, the plus stuff, you know, the most expensive. And when I'm at a restaurant, I order the food I want. Like I don't even think about it. And I want you to be there. And I know I can tell you how to do it. There's two major things I'm going, please, 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 guys, start getting this in your life. Start thinking about this. One is, the one major thing is that I have the same amount of 24 hours. There's 24 hours in a day. And each minute I am doing something, and each minute I am not doing something. So I got my do, stuff that I do, and stuff that I not do. Your life consists of that too, your 24 hours. The results, because of my choices of what I do and what I not do, I'm getting these results. How much more complicated can that be? How much more simple can I get you to see this? The question is, do you know what to do with your time? I run across this all the time with people. I'm going like, what did you do yesterday? And they said, I don't know. Or they start rambling. Now, has an activity book? Would somebody grab me an activity book? And we should leave one laying up here. Okay, see, here's an example. Look at all this good stuff we've got up here, which includes an activity book. Thank you, Matt. Okay, of these things, we have a whole store out there. There's things that are not in here, and there's things in here. We have to make a conscious decision. Okay? Thank you, Matt. All right, so in here, we encourage you to track your week of what to do. What we don't put in here is what not to do. Do you know the stuff that's stupid that you do? Let me give you an example. It takes 1 second to dial somebody's phone number and check on them and see how's their business. Let's say a new agent you hired. Hey, how you doing, buddy? It also takes 1 second to look at Facebook. I got an email this week from a person that said, thank you. Since January, I come to the National Convention. I have been clean of Facebook. And I was laughing like crazy at this person. What they've started to do is they've started to not do this, and they started to do this. So life ends up being, every day, you get a chance to move something into the not do, and move something that you're not doing into the to do. And when you do more things that create the results, you get different results. Hello? This is like, I don't know how to make this meaner or crazier, but when I watch and I look how many phone calls you make, for example, when I look at your calendar, how many hours are booked? Let me tell you this. The call that I did, the activity call with Paul Menachino, my man issue pays $20,000 plus of business every month in, month out, on less than 3 days a week. I know people that work a little bit Monday, a little bit Tuesday, a little bit Friday, a little bit Saturday. Every day of the week they work a little bit and don't do $20,000. What's the difference? It's during the minutes that he's making phone calls, his efficiency is way better. He's thinking, how do I get the job done? His thinking and his doing is different. So what is on your list that you're doing that needs to be shifted over to the not do? Is it family that do you have family that talks about stuff that's like go on and on and on and you're listening to it? Do you have a spouse? Do you have children? Do you have neighbors that just talk and it's not getting anything done? Now, all right, so it's this whole list, an activity. We have a thing called the Activity Challenge, or the Haystack Challenge. Every phone call you make, you end up, a haystack looks like this. 1 phone call, 2 phone call, 3 call, 4 calls, 5 calls. So that's a haystack. When you do that, you go like, bam, got a haystack. It shouldn't take you more than a minute to get a haystack. Because it's 4 rings, goes to the next person, 4 rings, goes to the next person. So it shouldn't take you but a minute to do that. The question is, how many haystacks are you going to build during a week? And what do you have to not do to create this? There's 2 different haystacks. There's 2 different phone calls. You either can call agents, and people want to say, well, you mean a person that's a potential agent? It's an agent. It's going to be a guy that's selling in your organization. Or you were calling leads. Or we could call them clients. So in other words, people that you're building an organization with, or you could call current clients, like a client you hadn't talked to in a year. Call them back. It only takes a second. See, here's what drives me crazy. People do stuff that does not make money, and when you say something to them about it, they say, it only takes a second. I want to say, to make money, it only takes a second. The question is, what are your results? What does your bank account look like? What does your power look like? What does your influence look like? Can you call somebody right now and they'll come running over to your house? Do you have anybody that you could call and they'll fly to meet you in the city you're in? What is your influence? What is your bank account? What's your influence? What else is there? So on my religion, well, what is the reflection on your religion if you have no money and you can't influence anybody? What do you mean by influence? You can't help somebody. When's the last time you wrote a $10,000 check to help out a preacher? To help a guy in another different country? Right? I just committed $25,000 to a pastor, a bishop, who's expanding his entrepreneurial operation in Africa. When's the last time you committed to do that? All I'm saying is, I respect John Maxwell because of the influence he wields, because of the money that he gives away, because of the amount of people that are taught leadership. I admire Brian Biggers because of how many people come to his church and they're changed. They listen to him. What about you? You could use age as your excuse. Anybody can use any excuse. My question is, what do you want it to be? How about your travel? Do you travel everywhere you want to? I'm saying you're on this side of the line. I want you on this side of the line. Do you want to move from here to here? That's my question. If it is, what you got to start working at is second by second. Now here's another thing. This is big. This is in the to do and don't do. You have a choice of who you talk to. We've got these people you can choose to talk to, or you can choose to talk to these people, or you could choose to talk to these people. Who do you pick to talk to? That's my whole question. Who do you send text to? Who do you send emails to? Who do you listen to? Who do you call for advice? I had a person the other day, and please work with me on this, okay? Like, y'all are my people, as in you my people, I'm your people, I'm your friend. We say the Alliance believes in prosperity, inspiration, and eternity. And we want everybody to be successful that are like us, our people. What is our people? People that they like the positive side of life. They like the optimistic. So you're with me. You're one of my people. Since you're one of my people, can we agree that going into the Google, the Bing, the internet, and putting search for something is not research? You with me? Does that make sense? Like, think about who you're listening to. Who is that guy? Coaches. I hear people that they're paying $100 a month or $1,000 a month to a coach. And the way they look up the coach is they Google the coach. And since there's no bad stuff on there, they think he's good. Have you been to his house? Does he have a mansion? Does he live in a shack? Does John Maxwell know him? Does the chancellor of NC State know him? Does the insurance commissioner know this guy? Is he friends with this guy? You're looking at a coach and you're going to pay this guy $1,000 a month, and you don't know anything about him because you researched, you Googled him? What the heck? Okay, is this tracking? Is this making sense? Yes? No? Hello? Yes? How would you do research? Go see him. Go to his house. Talk to people that he's given checks to for $10,000. Go find out what churches say this guy's a great guy in person. Not on an email, because people can't put in writing stuff that they'll put in person. That's why we say, come to the Alliance. Come here and walk around. See the basketball gym. Come talk to Chris Hill. Come talk to Justin Tripp. Come talk to Sandra. Talk to her. Like, that's checking it out. So what happens is your belief goes through the roof, then you're able to quit doing dumb stuff and start doing smart stuff. Okay, so I hope you listen. I want you to listen to these next speakers we have up. And what I want you to do is watch how they operate, their hands, their eyes, the way they move. Gauge their belief level. A lot of people say, I believe. Okay, I know you believe. Here's the key question when everybody says, okay, watch this. You say, I do that. Here's the question that you need to be asking. How good do you do that? You with me? So it's not, do you do this? It's if I rated you on a 1 being you're really bad to a 100 saying you're perfect, where are you when it comes to do and not do? Self-evaluation. I rate myself terrible. I look at my results and I go, my results are better than some because of my travel itinerary, because of the ability to buy cars and give away money. And then I go, I know why I'm not getting what I know why I'm not getting what I want. It's because of what I do and don't do. Can I get you to admit that? Like, hello, man, if I can get you to do that, then I just got to get you to work on little things like, for example, this. I want to get you focused on this, an activity. These things make you productive. Now, then I want you to get you good on this. Who do you listen to? And who do you talk to? Hello? Who do you listen to? And who do you talk to? What's going in your head? When you go down the road, I understand the challenge between listening to me and country music. I understand the challenge between listening to Alex Fitzgerald training and country music. I'm asking you to re-examine when you go down the road, when you're working out on a treadmill, what are you listening to? It only takes, what is a typical elliptical, 30 minutes, right? It's only 30 minutes. So could you give me 30 minutes? And you're not giving it to me. Could you give your family that? President's Club, if you're not on President's Club, I highly recommend you get on it. We email out audios and we send out CDs. There's 2 different ways you can get a hold of these, okay? Do you listen to them live when we perform them, over-the-shoulder call or the TWC, and do you re-listen to it? What's going in your head, Pam? The positivity or the negativity? You're choosing each minute. Now here's big. Who are you talking to? I've hired a lot of agents. I have a lot of people that I consult with. I have to make decisions each day. If this is me, if this is Andy, do I work with you or do I work with you or do I work with you? If this is you, do you listen to Tim? Do you work with Marty? Do you work with Sharon? We all have to make those decisions, and we've got to get better at evaluating it. Is this person we're working with, do they want to build the business? Yes. How good do they want it? Is it a 3? Is it a 70? Is it a 90? Here's what I'm looking for. You want to say, Andy, who do you want to work with? I want to work with people that are giving 100%. We are going to do more and more of identifying people who are willing to commit and go to war. Andy, what are we going to be fighting? We're going to be fighting loneliness, we're going to be fighting misery, and we're going to be fighting poverty. What are we going to be fighting for? Friendship, relationships, and being hog nasty, stinking rich. You with me? You say, well, ain't we going to give it away? Yeah, and the principle is the faster you give it away, the more it's going to come in. So my question will be is, I'm looking for people who are donating. For example, who do I know that is giving to ministries every month? I want to know. So, Andy, it's my personal business. I got you. It's your personal business whether you wake up at 4 a.m. or get up at 8 a.m. or 10 a.m. I don't care. On the other hand, I'm looking for people who cray-cray. You with me? Chris Long is looking for people that are 100% committed. Stephen Davies, Adam Katz, right now, I know for a fact I've got Adam checking. You say, well, I'm on Adam's team, but I'm not giving 100%. What do we got to do? What do we got to do to get you from 62 to 82? The money's crazy. Do we need to be nicer? Does Adam need to be nicer? Does Adam need to be meaner? Because we got to start deciding where are we going to pour the gas into. See, what other people understand is this is a nonstop interview of life. Life has all these opportunities, and they give them to certain people. And they interview you based on what you do and what you don't do. I am constantly interviewing. What are you doing and not doing? The good news is life and I don't look at yesterday. It's what are you going to do tomorrow? Can we get you today to start taking a little more effort and watching who you listen to, what books you read, who you associate with? Are you committed to come to our July convention? That's the one step in beginning 100%. Do you have a ticket yet? Have you checked with anybody? We've sold completely out of tickets, but several of our managers have extra tickets. Check with them. If they don't have an extra ticket, call me, call Justin Tripp, call somebody and say, hey, how do I get my ticket? Okay, look, step by step, guys. I'm having a blast, I guarantee you, in the islands, the Greek Isles. I'm having fun with my friends, hanging out in the Haven. I wish you was there, but you know what? Next year we're going to Banff. Next year after that, we're not decided yet. It's going to be exotic. It'll be awesome, I guarantee you. What does your tomorrow look like? I want to help your tomorrow to be 50 times better than today. Check out these best of. I know you'll enjoy them. Study them. I love you. See you. Bye. Leave it. And I'm finding the people that will duplicate. I'm finding the people that will copy the system. You know, it's the NCAA March Madness. Everybody's all fired up about it, and if you have a favorite team, you stay fired up about it. Some people just love it all together. They just love the competition. But here's what I know: if that coach, Godfrey's his name, if he tells his team what to do, and they will all do what he says, even if he's not exactly right, they're more likely to win a national championship. The teams that do that. But now what if a player said, well, back in high school, when I was at Dudley, or back when I was at, what's the other one, DeMatha, when I played at DeMatha, and here's the way we did it, and that's how I got my scholarship, and that's how I learned it. Bro, you in the NCAA, and we got a game plan, we own a team. And the team is running this play. Never has our organization been on track as it is now of people saying, so let me get this right, Albright. Here's the plan. We're going to sell, recruit, and get people to do the same thing. I've never heard people saying that as often as I hear it now. See, here's what we're looking for, a national championship. What's a national championship in our book? $1 billion. We ain't talking about Sweet 16. We ain't talking about the Great 8. We ain't talking about the final. We're talking about national championship. You with me? We want to win it all. And we're headed in the right direction more than we ever have been. That's why I'm out there. And when you look, it's funny because you look and you see who's copying that. You with me? In other words, who's duplicating and who's going out there and doing meetings across the country and trying to serve the organization. Why am I trying to serve the organization so much? I need some help. Does that make sense? A guy that ain't trying to serve, he's saying, I don't need no help. He don't even know he's saying that. What he's doing is he's setting himself out on an island. And I'm going like, so it's kind of I don't know, I'm trying to think of a word, Brian, but it's a warning, Brian. Like, you're not doing that. But it's a warning going like, don't put yourself on an island. Go help other people. Go down to Greenville. Do whatever you got to do, Robin. You with me? You go help other people. If you don't, you send a signal that you don't want help. By not helping, you're telegraphing, don't give me help. You with me? So all you got, like you bringing all the people, Olga, you and Jason bringing all the people up from Florida. Now the funny thing is, the people some of your team that didn't make it, they sent, hey, here's the reason I can't make it. I got this situation. You have no idea how much I appreciate that. And people say, you don't want to hear excuses, do you? Well, what's the other option? Hear nothing? I want to hear, it's a reason they didn't make it. I love that. I love that communication. I love people letting me know what's going on. That's how I stay on their case. That's the way I stay with them. I was just talking to Gina Hawks, who did the boot camp up in Portland with Joe Walker, and I was telling her, I was like, Gina, look, I don't know what you want, Gina, unless you tell me what you want. So she's talking to me about she wants in her career and what she wants accomplished, and now I can come back at her or come back with stuff and say, if this is what you're doing, this is what we're going for. And so then what she's got to do is she's got to take all her personal beliefs and philosophies and thinking and get it to narrow up to what we are trying to accomplish as a team. See, sometimes it takes creativity to get to the point that every player, in other words, what I'm looking for on a basketball team is hustle, for example. And when you see a ball go on the ground, if it ever quits bouncing and it starts rolling, you count the number of bodies in the red jerseys and the number of bodies on the green with the green jerseys that hit the ground. And the number that hit the ground, I bet you that team wins it. You with me? The higher one. Because if they're over there trying to pick it up like this right here, that's not throwing your body at it. And when you look at who's hiring across the country, they're throwing their body at it. Now, and here's what people are. They're feared, they're going to lose. And I go, bro, let me tell you something. That's the haystack challenge for you. The haystack challenge is encouraging you to lose more often and not worry about it. Consider it a victory when you get a haystack.
That's right.
Somebody sent me this morning, I got 9 haystacks already. And I was like, God, I bet you they messed up a lot. I bet you they failed a lot. But they accomplished 9 haystacks. That's the whole program. And so let's do, can I write on this, Billy? If I can, let's do a haystacks just for get our mind right. One telephone call, 2 telephone call, 3 telephone, 4. Okay? So 1 telephone, 1 telephone, 1 telephone, 1 telephone, 4. So it's 5, 10. That's 2 haystacks right there. That's 10 phone calls going out. Not 10 texts, not 10 emails, not 10 door knocks, not 10 got off my desk and went and talked to somebody. It's 10 phone calls reaching out to somebody. Okay? And I want to let y'all know that I do have the mugs on the way that has the haystacks on them. You with me? I got the... I know you think, he's lost his mind now. Well, that happened a long time ago. But that's how serious I am. You know I'm serious about something when I get on a coffee mug, right? You know a company's serious. And we got T-shirts coming. We're serious about this thing, man. I remember I used to have this guy. He'd be like, y'all rednecks, y'all don't know what y'all doing. And I'll be like, Bo, I don't know how you keep score. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? I don't know how you keep score, but we're winning trips all over the world, got money in our bank, giving stuff away to charities, and treating our wives like queens, giving them diamonds and big cars and stuff. How you keep score, bro? And you got a rating scale on my accent or something? You know what I mean? Like, the heck, man. I mean, I'm judging based on, what you do and how you spend. And what did I do? I don't know why. People say, when do you read? I don't know when I read. I read. I read this morning for 30 minutes. I was reading I'm not promoting this, but I was reading Cool Hand Luke. Now, I've seen the movie 10 times, but I was watching. This thing's messing me up. But Oh, I know what it is. A magazine, 100 best companies, 100 schools. I was bringing it to Revis, and I was like, hey, check this out and see what Google's doing and what Cisco's doing, all these companies doing that we ain't doing, and see if we can learn what they're doing. And it was funny because in the article it talks about the other companies that are not in the top best companies. They want to know because it's a secret. And I was like, well, it's not a secret because I'm reading it. But here's what I know. Most people are not reading it. But what I read in there was George Foreman. Y'all know George Foreman. So I just this morning, I don't know. I just stand there at the table talking to Mac and getting ready to come up here, loading up my bag sack, and I flipped it open. There was George Foreman, and I said, "I'm my buddy George." And he was if y'all youngins don't know or don't follow boxing at all, he's a heavyweight boxer, and Ali beat the snot out of him, and he won world titles and stuff. And he was talking about the video where he fought Ali, and he was like, every time I'm thinking I'm gonna win. And then I get knocked out, you know. But I was like, that's me. Every time I think I'm going to win. You know what I mean? Kind of like that little kid. I'm like, even though it's a rerun, I'm thinking I'm going to win, you know. But George, and he's the one that y'all know, the George Foreman grills, right? That was a $174 million lifetime deal. So somehow he got $174 million out of that. But here's what he's doing. He's 66, 64, 66, and he's working. And that's what he talked about. George said, money was not meant to be kept. It was meant to be spent. I was like, whoa, that's my man right there, you know what I mean? And it was in his big house, and what all he's doing, he's 60-some years old, and he's out there charging, you know? And people say, like, well, I think you think you ought to be a part of the alliance, do you? I think he might ought to be a part of the alliance. I don't know, but I know this. We don't need him to go to $1 billion. But if he wanted to help us out, we'd take him. He's the kind of heart, he's the kind of kid we're looking for. Like, it's just like a 2-page article. I'd stop and read it. I said, that's what I'm talking about right there. That's the kind of man I'm talking about right there. Like, he's out there traveling. He's talking to people. He's getting out of his house. Let me tell y'all something. That's where the secret is outside of your house. You know it? And people say, well, I got little kids. I got a wife. And I go, yeah, that's what I say. I got little kids and I got a wife. I got to go. I got to do this thing. I don't want my 17-year-old son to see me cowering down. You with me? And yesterday, I was 100 miles an hour, and I was like, all right, I got to get over there. I got to go see him play a little bit of lacrosse. And you can figure it out. See, sometimes it takes creativity. Sometimes you have to think about things and plan them out so you can be here or be there. And so, what's today? Wednesday? Okay, so tomorrow, I mean, and people don't, it's funny how, like, people ask me, how do you do it? I have this thing called a calendar, okay? It would be your activity book. And what I do is, a lot of times when I'm sitting and thinking, I will look at my calendar. I literally just pull up my calendar. Like, this is my calendar for April, or this is the one in an activity book. Do you have anything marked up in April? Is there days that you don't have anything scheduled? Okay? And so, like, tomorrow, I have scheduled to make a bunch of phone calls, recruiting phone calls. I've got scheduled to work out. And I've got a schedule to get on a plane with my wife and my son to go up to New Hampshire to look at this private high school that my son's thinking about. So I am going to get that flight, the hotel, watch the NC State ball game Thursday night with them. We're going to go out to eat. We're going to go to school the next day. We're going to interview the coaches. The coaches are going to interview my son. We're going to go out to eat again. We're going to fly back, be back home Saturday. You tracking with me? In other words, it's going to happen because it's in here. Terry, that's the deal. It's an activity. What is your activity in your life? Because at the end of this year, a lot of people are going to look back and they're going to like, what else could I have done? You with me? It's planning out your schedule and your calendar.
So you think about team, you think about what does it take to be a team, what does it take to be part of one, and what makes a team effective. And if you think about championship teams, you think about the New England Patriots, and I'm not a Patriots fan, but you got to give them their due. They do win. I am a Yankees fan, and they've won a lot. And here's what: it's not one person carrying the team that makes them successful. It's everybody following the plan. It's everybody doing what they're supposed to do, everybody doing their job. You think about a football team, and every offensive play is designed to score a touchdown. If everybody executed perfectly, then every play would score a touchdown. So why doesn't every play score a touchdown? Because there's always something a little bit off. Somebody's a tenth of a second slow. Somebody missed a block. There's something that messed it up. But the goal is to get the whole team working together and to truly create that win-win environment that we have here at the Alliance. And one of the big things that keeps us so effective as a team is what we call the light of day. So I just wanted to spend a couple minutes here talking about what the light of day is and how you can use this in your business to explode your business. Okay, so the D stands for duplication. Okay, what is duplication? Duplication, it's just follow the leader. One of the things, I remember when we first got started in this, I was like, you know what? I'm just going to do everything Andy recommends. That way when it doesn't work, I'm innocent. Yep. You know, then it's Andy's fault because I did exactly what he said. And when it doesn't work, because I knew it wasn't going to work because nothing else had worked, right? So, and lo and behold, my gosh, we started making money. And our team started to come together, and the business started to take off. Why? Because we were actually duplicating. We were in alignment with the leadership. And so it's just follow the leader. Andy's an executive board member. I'm going to be an executive board member. It would make sense for me to do what the person who's already cleared the path has already done. And so that's, for me, it takes all the pressure off. Now I don't have to think about things. I just got to see, okay, what are the leaders doing here? Let me just fall in line and do that. And one of the things we've always talked about is this. I'd rather be wrong and in alignment than right and out of alignment. Why? Because if we're in alignment, and even if we're a little off, we can course correct very quickly and we can all move together. But if we're out of alignment, then it's going to take so much more effort and energy and time to get back in alignment. So it's that duplication that's the first part about it. What are things you duplicate? You duplicate the words. You duplicate, you know, when I'm with the leaders, when I'm with a Stephen Davies, you know, when I'm with a Fitz, when I'm with a Mike Leventovich and an Abian and a Paul Roberts and a Chris Long and all these top leaders, what am I doing? I'm looking at the things they do. I see how Andy does his hands. I see how, you know, does this look familiar? Where do you think I got that from? It's by years of studying Andy, and not just his words, but the way he moves, his actions, the way he interacts with people, the way he listens to people. So that's a big piece of the duplication. Understand this. Your team, the team, will do what you do. Okay? You will get, they won't do what you say. You know, it's one of those things, I've never texted in the car with my kids in the car. So you tell your kids, don't text while you're driving. And then you accidentally might unintentionally send a text or read a text. And it's like, do as I say, not as I do. People don't do that, though. Kids don't do it, and your team's not going to do it. They're going to do what you do. And here's a crazy part about it. The good things you're doing, the right things you're doing, they're going to do about half of that. So if you want somebody writing $10,000, you better be writing 20. Because they're going to do about half what you do. You want somebody to recruit 10 agents in a month, you better be recruiting 20 agents in a month. Because your people are going to do about half of the right things. Now here's the bad part. The things you do wrong, they're going to do about 5 times of that. And so you just really want to make sure that you're paying attention to yourself, because that's the thing you can control, and that you stay in that alignment. You know, the other thing about duplication is this. It's comforting for new people. You know, if somebody comes to one of the hotspot meetings and they hear one speaker say something, and then they come the next week and a different speaker and they're saying the same thing, that's very comforting for a new person. It's like, these guys are either completely on the same page. I don't know if they're telling it everything right or not, but they're consistent. And that consistency allows people to trust. And so you can just go so much faster. You can grow so much faster with that consistency and with that duplication. The A is for association. Okay? If you've read the book Think and Grow Rich, Napoleon Hill talks about his mastermind team, the people he associates with. It's biblical. It's a biblical principle of you know, surround yourself with counselors. And who are you associating with? Who are you hanging around? Whose thought process are you allowing to be a big influence on you. You know, most people, the average person out there, you can decipher their income based on the 5 people they spend the most time around. Their income will be the average of the 5 people they spend the most time around. And that's just common sense, because likes like to hang around likes. I used to be a school teacher, and when I was a school teacher, you go to the cafeteria, and you know, the football players sat with the football players, the cheerleaders sat with the cheerleaders, the straight-A students sat with the straight-A students, the stoners sat with the stoners, you know, everybody sat with their likes. Why? Because you're comfortable with who you associate with, and you become who you associate with. And here's what I know. If you take one of those straight-A students and put them at the stoner table, that's not going to elevate the stoner's grades, okay? It's going to have because of the mass of it. So what I've chosen to do is associate with people who are in life where I want to be. When I go into a room, my goal is to have the lowest income in the room. Why? Because that means I'm associating with the right people. That means I'm learning something. That means I'm spending my time, and it's affecting my thought process, which is going to affect my actions. Okay, beliefs affect thoughts, thoughts affect actions, actions affect habits, habits affect destinies. That's what we're talking about here. And so the association is critical. It keeps you on track. It keeps your mindset right, keeps your attitude right. So how do you associate? Well, we associate here at the Alliance. We do it with books. We're big on reading. If you have not read the books on Andy's book list, you know, jump on it. Start with Andy's 8 Steps to Success book. And then you got the Millionaire Maker Manual, and then there's a whole book list based on where you are in business. That helps keep your mind right. We do it through audio training, the CDs, everything we have access to on NA University, and then meetings like this, the TWC. Every week when Andy's in the country, he's spending an hour and a half with us. We get an hour and a half association with Executive Board member Andy Albright. Okay, he's taking his time to do the call, to do the show. It's worth our time to follow through. And so the meetings are important, and then the hot spots, and we got leadership coming up in July, and there are going to be some cool surprises at leadership in July that I've heard a couple of them, and it's going to be awesome. So making sure that you're doing the association. And then the third part of it is the edification. Okay, this is the magic dust of our business. This is what makes your business grow. You cannot edify. The word edify, to build up. You cannot edify yourself. Okay? If you do, it doesn't come across very well. You know, well, at an early age, I was forced to choose between honest arrogance and hypocritical humility. I chose the former, and see, that doesn't go over well. You can't edify, you can't build up, you can't tell, well, let me tell you how great I am. If you can say stuff like that, but it doesn't help anybody, and it just annoys people and it irritates people. So when I edify Stephen, and then Stephen, I give him credibility. This is the magic of the hot spots, guys. This is what makes the hot. When you have a guest, you take your guest up to the speaker, and it doesn't even matter who the speaker was, because the speaker has the credibility, because the speaker has the marker. And we just spent the last 45 minutes to an hour listening to that person, so there's perceived credibility there. So you bring your guest up to the speaker, edify the speaker. The speaker's going to turn around and tell your guests how great the team that they're about to join is. And that's how we work with each other. That's the power of edification. It's letting the light shine on others. How do you let the light shine on others? Don't worry about who gets the credit. Let's just grow this thing. Let's just all qualify for Banff. Let's just all, you know, we're going to Greece, and we hate that people aren't going with us. How about we leave no man behind when we go to Banff? And the way you do that is you let everybody get the credit. Shine the light on everybody. Don't be that guy that can't listen to anybody else's story and give credit to somebody else. Don't be that guy that has to interject all the time. You know, story toppers. Well, that's pretty good. Let me tell you what I did. Oh, your kid did pretty good. Well, let me tell you about my child and the super geniuses that I have raised. Nobody wants to hear your story topping. Let people have their moment. Let people say their piece. It's the light of day that allows us to be a team. This is what takes the lid off our income. This is what takes the lid off our opportunity, the fact that we're a team. Here's something I never wanted to be. I never wanted to be the magic in my agency. Because if you're the magic in your agency, you know what that means? That means you always got to be there. Because if the magic steps away, then there's no more magic. So that's not your goal. My goal is to make the team the magic. My goal is to make, in Wilmington, it's the Wilmington Alliance is the magic. It's the culture. It's the environment. It's not any one person. And when you do that, then you can go away and the business still grows. Your team still grows. So here's what you got a choice of. You can change if you're not where you want to be. Analyze where you are in the light of day, on your duplication, your association, your edification, and then change. How do you change? Why change? First thing you got to do is figure out why you want to change. Do you want the full opportunity? Do you want to take the lid off? Do you want the ability to grow across the country and to take full advantage of the alliance system? And then ask people to change. Ask them to change. People will do things, but we don't ask them. We don't give them direction. We don't give them the opportunity to make the right choices. And then the last thing to think about is this. How will it feel when we all have the mastery of the light of day? When every hotspot across the country, when every agency across the country, when every agent across the country is all basking in the light of day.
All right, here's what I want to talk about. I want to talk about like, what level of the game are you playing it at? What level of the game am I playing it at? What level of the game are we playing it at? Because we've got the system in place. We've got the system and we've got the success stories, right? We've got the proof of concept. I mean, dear Lord, I went to making $1 million a year my third full calendar year here. And that's like crazy me. And that's like a much less refined, that was 10 years ago. So that's like a much less refined version of me, if you can picture that. That's a 10 years less mature version of myself. So the proof of concept's there, the system's there, but what are you going to get out of it? Well, that depends on what you do with what we've got. And that's why we'll talk about the levels of the game, so that we can look at it and go, what level am I playing this game at? What am I capable of? And where can I move? And then when I talk about the 5 levels of the game, you'll notice that you could be parts of both. Or at one point you were playing it here, but now you might be playing it here. So it's not what have I done in the past, right? Yesterday ended last night. Well, unless you're, in other time zones, then it might be almost ending right now. Other time zones around the world, if you know stuff about maps like I learned. I took bibliography. I know how it all works. Where are you playing the game at? What are you capable of? That's more than I want to talk about is potential. What we did yesterday, that's over. It's what we do from this point forward. What do we do with what we've got inside of us and what we have a hold of in the alliance? So here's the levels that we play the game at. The first level is where we play not to lose. Typically, that's where we start. And if you have any experience recruiting, you know that that's where people start. They come into the alliance and they've been beat up a little bit, and all they're thinking about is, I just don't want to go backwards anymore. I just want to hold my current line and not go back anymore. That's all they're thinking about. They've given up dreaming. They've given up thinking about maybe I could do something big. They're just thinking, maybe I can hold the line. Maybe we can stop the bleeding. That's where I was when I found the alliance. We were 3 months behind on rent and 3 months behind on both car payments. When you're 3 months behind on rent and you put your key into the deadbolt and you say a little prayer before you turn it, that's not a great spot in life. Because what happens when you're 3 months behind on rent? What can they do to that lock? Yeah, when you go, come on, baby, one more time. It shouldn't be that. It shouldn't be that exciting to unlock your door. You know what I'm saying? Like there's so much other cool stuff in life, but boy, that was a victory. Like, oh, we have to fight another day, and pay 3 months behind on crappy car payments too. Like you ever had a car that was so crappy? And you're like, how the heck am I still making a payment on this? And bank's like, we're gonna have to take it. I'm like, good luck. I don't know what you're gonna do with a 1988 Mazda 626 with 249,000 miles on it. Maybe you could take it and find the hubcap I lost. I don't know. But that's where we were. So I came into the alliance, and here's what I wanted to make. And I'm not knocking this amount of money. This is just where I was at. When I met Andy, here's exactly what Holly Davies said to me. Dear Lord, do you think you can find a way to at least make $1,000 a week? Because we were so far behind, she knew that that's what it would take. Now, I've had weekly paychecks in the $55,000, $56,000 range since then. But that was just like, I would have been willing to stand on my head in the corner in the rain, which I guess you wouldn't, well, you could be in the corner and in the rain at the same time. I would be willing to do that 24 hours a day. At that point, just if I could just pay the bills and get her back behind me. That's where I was. I wasn't thinking about, I wasn't thinking about making millions of dollars. I wasn't thinking about, like, we were talking about flying first class to the place in Italy that we go, Venice, before we go to Greece. So you don't even have to know cities in Italy, and you can still win at this. Venice is in Italy, right? Yeah, okay, good. That's right, I remember that from Indiana Jones. But it was just talking about flying first class and the lay flats. None of that was in my. Heck, even flying on a plane wasn't in my immediate view. It was just, what if we could what would it feel like to pay the rent on time? Because when I paid my rent on time for the first time, you want to talk about walking in there like a boss. It was like, you can keep the grace period. I won't be using it this month. I was throwing grace period around like it was nothing. So this is typically where you start. It's like, I just don't want to lose anymore. It's too painful to even think about it. But the problem is, if we stay there, life stays just comfortable enough to not be a pain in the butt. Does that make sense? Like, you ever had an injury like that? Like playing sports, and it's like, doesn't hurt quite bad enough to go to the doctor yet? That's kind of how your life is here. Like, it's not torture, but God, it ain't fun. That's why we got to move forward from that. And when you're recruiting, you have to help people move forward from that. Not right away. You start trying to convince somebody that's playing the game not to lose. You start trying to convince them that they can become a millionaire in 3 years. You'll lose them. So meet people where they're at. But dear God, let's get them moving forward. Let's get us moving forward. Now, here's the tricky thing. You can move forward from this level, experience some setbacks in business, and then go right back to this level. That's where you get the sulkers at a meeting. Well, I hired a guy and then he quit. It's like, yeah, you hired a guy and he quit. Thus far, 100% of the people you hired have quit. Let's try and improve that percentage by hiring more people. So it's like they got excited, started building, and then just settle right back into playing not to lose. See, that's where not only do we need to keep encouraging each other, but encourage others. If you see somebody playing not to lose, bring them along. Come on, we're a team, we're a family. Let's bring everybody along. That wants to come anyway. So playing not to lose is the lowest level of the game. This is where you pay enough to just pay the bills. How fun is just paying the bills? I don't know. You tell me what your word is. I've got mine, but I won't say it on camera. It sucks, right? You get to the end of the month and start over? Well, what fun is that? That's just paying the bills. So where we go from there is we move to the next level, which is we start to get good at this. We start making our sales, and we play to cruise. We start getting where we can write enough to pay our bills. Oh, and yeah, that's right. Go to Applebee's on Friday night. That's right. That's right. Yeah. I'm not coming because the appetizers are half price. I'm coming because I'm rich. I still remember the first time we went to the Applebee's on Hendersonville Road. You want to talk about feeling like a millionaire. It was like, this has got to be what MC Hammer's life was like for a little bit. I mean, it was like, I mean, we just walked into Applebee's like we owned it, right? Yeah, we ain't splitting the app. I mean, we got drinks and everything. I mean, it was like, big money night on town. Because we'd start to make sales. But here's the thing. At that point, it's easy to slip and stay into this mode. If you just go to your hot spot and just seek coaching from your upline, you can move from here to here pretty quick. This is definitely a Mendoza line. When we start talking about leadership, and we start talking about the next few levels. At this level, don't get me wrong, it can look fun, and it is fun. I'm not knocking this level. But this is where you're writing enough personal production to win trips. But you're playing to cruise. Everything about this level of playing to cruise, here's where it all points back to. You're doing just enough to get you on a trip. You're doing just enough for you to have some fun on the weekends. And here's what I know about impact. Impact can never come from something that's inwardly directed, from something that just satisfies your needs. Impact can't come from that. Impact can't come from that. Lose. Oh, did I spell it wrong? I should have asked for it in a sentence, like a spelling bee. Sorry, please use that in a sentence. I didn't major in spelling at Southwestern Community College, in case you're wondering. So this is where you're making enough, you're selling enough to win the trips, you've got some money in your pocket, but it's all just taking care of you. That's playing to cruise. It's easy to stay there. It's easy to stay there. No, there's no pain involved here. There's no pain involved in just staying there. Not like here, but it's all you directed. If you want to have impact, you've got to move to the next level, which is, now I'm really hoping I have all these spelled correctly on my note cards. That's where you play to improve. This level right here, when you move from here, this is when you start to have, really going out on a limb here, an awakening. I'm going to start using cursive so that way I can be like, yeah, that's what I wrote. It's cursive. That's where you'll be at an event like leadership, and you start to go, I think I could do this. Like, I think I could really do this. Not just personally produce, not just, but I think I could really start to do this thing. That's when you start to ask questions. That's when you start to want to get to know, what do the leaders know? This is when you start to get curious. When you start making gradual improvements, where you start going, you know what? This week I'm going to put in 25 recruiting dials this week. Never done recruiting dials before. I'm going to do it this week. I'm going to do it. This month, I'm not just going to write enough to pay my bills. I'm going to go for because I know I can do it. I'm going to go for the 20,000 of personal paid that I need, of personal production that I need for the 2020 vision. I'm going to do that this month, and I'm going to start working on the 2020. So you start to get curious again. You know, Picasso said it takes a long time to grow young. Well, if you stay interested in what you're doing, you stay young. And this is where you start to get interested in it. It's no longer just something that you're doing. It's I think I could really be an impact player here. This is where you start to think and ask questions, and it starts to become more of a journey. This is where behavior changes start to happen. Like I mentioned, all of a sudden you start making regular recruiting dials every week. All of a sudden you start calling resumes. But now the next level that you'll move to from there is playing to compete. That's where all of a sudden you start looking at, you know what? I can move past these guys and go to regional manager. You know what? I can move past those guys and go to VP. I can move past. Now notice where all the verbiage is regarding. It's regarding beating people. Because you're starting to play to compete. And we all go through that stage where it's like all of a sudden you're like, oh yeah, I can be in that agency manager meeting. You start to here's the thing, you're measuring yourself against others. Now here's one downside, is that playing to compete is ego driven. It's not a bad thing. It's not a bad thing. An ego is like a fire. Right? If it's in a steam engine, it's productive. If it's a forest fire, it's destructive. So this is ego-driven, but it can be a positive ego-driven. That's where you're starting to measure yourself and go, I can do this. You're looking at the level chart totally different. And you're going, you know what? I know I'm a key leader now, but I can be a national manager by the end of the year. I could be an EVP by next leadership. You're starting to measure yourself. But now the key is not to stay there. The key is to go to the highest level, which is where you play to win. What does that mean? It means you go from being ego-driven at the previous level to where now you are spirit-driven, meaning it's all internal motivation. You're not just motivated because you don't want to get beat. You're not just motivated because you no longer want to be the number one recruiter at your hotspot. You're no longer motivated just because you want to get measured as an agency manager, as a regional manager, whatever it is. You're no longer motivated by that. It's internal motivation now. Now it becomes about you being your best you. What is your best you capable of? See, that's when you start to discover this stuff. That's when it gets really exciting, really crazy. This is where your best you gets to meet the world. The world's dying to meet your best you. The world's dying to meet your best you. Your best you is so necessary, so needed. This is where we get to meet it. This is where we get to meet you. Not the you that's been beat down a little bit by life, but the you that's becoming your best you. This is where you have no fear. Why? Because there's nothing to fear when the goal is to become your best you. You're no longer worried about the things you worry about at the previous levels because you know you're becoming your best you. Failure is not even a thought at this point. I'm going to go to high levels of impact and help lots of people. It's not even a thought of, what if I slide backwards? See, there's no longer questions like, well, what if I hit national manager and then I fall back? You're not thinking that stuff anymore because you know your best you doesn't have to worry about any of that. One of the beautiful things about this level is that it fills your heart with gratitude. When you are driving to be your best you because of the impact you know you can have, your heart's full of gratitude. That's where petty little things in life don't bother you anymore. That's where petty little people in life don't bother you anymore. Because it's about you becoming your best you. I've heard Andy say it a million times. You've already got inside of you what you need. We're just trying to pull it out. And see, that's where moving up at what level you're attacking what we've got our hands on, that's where it pulls it out of you. That's where all the good stuff comes out of you, is at this level when you play to win. Oh, if I do my finger too, it also makes dots, which I know from earlier when I was doing that. Forgot in a short period of time. This is the you we need. This is the you your family needs. Your kids deserve the best you. What about the people in your life that are here? They need the example the best you provides. They need the inspiration the best you provides. They need the prosperity that the best you creates. That's where you play this game and you never get tired and you forget what day it is. Remember when you were a little kid, your mom didn't go, now how much did you play this week? It's like, well, let's see, I've logged some serious play hours. I've been playing a lot this week. I probably need to take it easy. You didn't act like that as a kid, right? You remember said Picasso says it takes a long time to grow young? This is where you stay young. Because it's an awesome journey at that point. This is where you don't live life anymore. And this is where I'm going to bring Adam back up and we're going to close it down together. But in closing on this, here's what I would say. Don't live life in the shadow of your abandoned dreams. That's what most people do. They live their entire life in the shadow of the dreams they abandoned. And it casts a shadow and a pall over their life because they know they can do it. They know that the best them could. Let's all go on this journey together because I'm telling you, you at your best you makes the Alliance an incredible place. It makes the Alliance an even better place. You at your best you. You at your best you can affect and help others that none of the rest of us can. You at your best you can touch hearts that nobody else can. That's why we need you playing to win with us, becoming your best you as the Alliance goes to its best Alliance. Adam?
I'm on the TWC. Fired up. Man, all right, so three things. I remember when I first started getting in this business and really what are the things I need to focus on and what are the things I need to pour myself into, Eric? And some things really, kind of looking back now and sort of reflecting on that time of really when I was really starting to build this just over 7 years ago. Really, probably some of the best advice I can give a brand new person is to really, really keep your cash flow up. As you start to build this business, cash flow is going to be absolutely important for a couple of reasons. The first and foremost, as you start to build this thing, when you start going out there and you start producing and you're helping families and income is starting to come in, what's happened is you're starting to validate that system, right? You're starting to increase your own belief level in yourself and your abilities to do this. Now, see, when you're starting to recruit, what happens is sales and recruiting is nothing more than a transfer of belief from you to the other person. And what's a better way to have belief that it works than in you doing it yourself? All right, so you need to absolutely make sure you're out there producing. You're watching NAA University. You're getting better in areas that you need to get better at, and you're starting to make it happen. Be willing to fail a whole bunch. Like really start to get a good, healthy view of what failure is all about. And you want, and that's going to really help you and perpetuate you to be able to get out there and go help families and keep that cash flow up. Secondarily, when you start having cash flow, and especially when you're starting to build again, right, James? What happens is the minute that you really start to need that team, because like when you start, building your little empire here, your agency, your network of people that are helping along, and you're thinking about all those overrides. If you're not cash flowing and you're dependent on those overrides coming in, all of a sudden you need your team. The minute you need your team to survive or to grow is the minute your team starts looking at other options and starts maybe even leaving, right? But when you don't need your team, and you're not chasing them, that's when they start coming after you. Bingo. You put yourself on fire. And by getting out there and doing personal production and keeping that cash flow up where it needs to be, what happens is you start to attract people and instead of you trying to go out and find people, right? Yeah. The other thing, doing that personal production and really getting that income up, I tell you, a lot of us out there, we're not the only person that we're thinking about. We're thinking about a significant other. A lot of us are married out there. A lot of us have, boyfriends, girlfriends, stuff like that. When you start cash flowing, it's so funny. Stephen, you hear these new agents sometimes, they're like, Stephen, what can I do? I'm fired up about the business, but my wife, she's not. And the first thing I'm going off in my head, I'm like, man, one of the easiest ways to solve that problem, yeah right, is to go out there and produce and make sure it happens. See, what happens then, you've increased that belief level in yourself. But then what also happens, you start to increase the belief level of your partner. And see, when two people are unified in a common vision like that, man, there's just no stopping them. They can take off like there's just nobody's business. All right, and then the practical side of it too is keeping the cash flow up. You're going to want to run ads. You're going to want to get monster resumes. You're going to want to be able to purchase additional leads to go out and help other families. So keeping that cash flow coming in is going to let you operate like from a position of profit instead of desperation. You're not going to be trying to shortcut the system. You're not going to be trying to like weasel out of maybe keeping your lead flow where it needs to be. You're not scared to go on a trip like with Andy Albright or get around one of the leaders like Stephen Davies and travel a bit and start to chase the knowledge and that sort of thing. Okay. So the first thing is you absolutely need to keep your cash flow up. That's very imperative, and we have incredible resources that are going to help you do that. The second thing is I would absolutely say that develop that reading habit. See, I'm going right, so I'm starting to think about this. What I'm doing, Andy, in my head is I'm going right back to the 8 steps to success. I just talked about step number 2, which is work, right? So I think another thing that is absolutely important is developing that daily reading habit. There's very few things that we can do by ourselves to succeed in this business. But this is one of them. You have 100% control of your ability to set a schedule and start reading on a daily basis. Read before you get, right before you get up, or as you're starting to get up and before you go to bed. You start to insulate yourself and you start to protect yourself from the SNIOPs that Andy's talking about that are out there. You start to put that shield of protection all the way around you when you start to read. Here's the other thing that there's a dynamic thing that starts to happen when you're reading too, and when you're starting to build a team. The one thing you're going to notice is you've got to learn to protect your energy, even more so than your time in this business. And what happens is, like I love some of the people that come to the convention, or we don't see this much anymore. It's crazy. We used to hear people like that. I don't want all the rah-rah. I haven't heard that in a long time, which is a great sign, right? Is a great sign. They understand. So it's just like saying that's like taking a bath one time, saying I don't need a bath.
Wrong.
Really? I don't know. You might want a bath, right? And so our motivation level, the energy levels that it takes to go out there and do this business, it does require that sort of thing. And so here's the point, and I'm going to tie this back to reading, I promise. I'm going like through Detroit to get to Miami, it feels like. But here's the deal. There's certain things you need to do to keep yourself motivated, right? This is a self-motivated business. We're looking for self-starters, all right? So that doesn't just happen. There are some disciplines that come along with that. When you start reading, you start associating, and you start listening to conference calls like this TWC, and and like the President's Club and the NAA University. What happens is you start to get yourself to a level where you can sustain yourself. The minute you start recruiting, you give up that right to be mediocre, excuse me. And so what happens is just like positive association, when you start getting around guys like Stephen Davies and Andy Albright, it starts to raise your own energy level, right? It pulls you up. But see what happens when you start raising yourself up and you get yourself to the self-confidence level that it takes to actually recruit and start building a team, because the nature of the business where they're at, your level of influence is higher than theirs. And when you bring them along a little bit lower, you surround yourself with the people that are lower energy levels than yourself. Guess what's going to happen to you? It's going to start pulling you down, all right? And that's a natural thing that happens. So what happens as a leader is you need to start doing things that are going to help pick you up above and beyond the self-sustainment level, which means you need to not just read, maybe read a little bit more than you used to. Maybe start going to more than just a boot camp, maybe more than just a conference. Like we have an opportunity to go with Andy Albright here that's coming up, in March. We're going down to West Palm Beach and seeing some incredible leaders, all right? So I know, like when my business is growing and we are growing like crazy. We should have one of our best weeks we've had in like a year. I was on the way up. We hired I think I put 10 people. In class. We're hiring like crazy. We're in a growth mode right now. I know I need that additional association. So I'm like, what? Yes, you're going. I'm like, this is crazy. This opportunity came up, but I've learned to spend that money on whatever I need to, on a plane ticket or whatever, to go chase the knowledge. Okay, which brings me to my last point. So reading is going to help insulate you. It's going to start bringing that energy level up and help you really start dealing with that team. And this last one is critical, and it's step 5. It's association. All right, and so I'm already kind of talking about that a little bit. Like when I'm going down, this trip for me has been absolutely incredible. I mean, going on a private jet, Bo, my heart, oh my gosh, that was absolutely incredible. Woo, I got to do that. Woo, I just got chill bumps. I mean, seeing a harvest moon. Who sees a harvest moon?
Right there, buddy.
Oh my God, this is it. Yeah, I took a picture of it and I sent it out to a couple, some new people I haven't said, this is my ride to work this morning. Woo! Yeah, it's a private jet. I know. But look at that. I mean, and you talk about association. I mean, God, look at the people I'm standing with. These are high-performing people that are moving into the top of their game. Someone at the top of the game, we've all got this potential. Man, it raises you up. And see, when you start to get around other people, what happens is you start to think like them. And so when you start understanding like what success is really made of, it's how we think and how we communicate. A lot of this business, we've heard Tim Goad say, it's more caught than taught. And there's no better way to catch the fire than to get around people that already have it. Annie, thank you so much, dude. I'm so blessed to be part of this opportunity.